Welcome back, you lovely people. It's me and Jimmy walking you around our bike sale here on Saturday, the 10th of June. There are a lot of bikes. I know very little about bikes, but luckily, Jimmy, he knows everything. We've put our shorts on for you today, a little visual treat for all you viewers.
Let us know who's got the best legs.
Ladies and gentlemen of a certain persuasion, this is for you. Hope you enjoy it. But let's go straight on to this. Let's talk about the Isle of Man TT, that iconic race. You can own a little bit of history, can't you?
Yeah, well, ironically, yeah. The TT's on, obviously, this weekend.
Yeah.
And what a belting weekend it would be to buy yourself a piece of history.
Because this bike has raced and done reasonably well, hasn't it, as well?
It did do reasonably well, yeah. It finished 9th.
Yeah.
Which averaged a speed of 78 miles an hour back in 1976.
Which is still scary, isn't it? That's a lot of speed.
On that, it's very scary, yeah.
Have you ridden this?
I've not, no. I haven't got the courage.
So it's fully restored with its two-stroke motor. It's got its original livery back again. Yep. It's been decommissioned for storage, but it's back on period tyres. So this is one of those things you could, I guess, recommission it, run it, ride it, or just enjoy it as what it is, a beautiful artefact.
Yeah, I mean, the actual vendor at the minute was going to recommission it and put it on a track. And then after he had a word with his father, he told him that he was not to do that because it's just too good. So it was on display in the house for a couple of years, and he's decided to move it on.
It is a piece of art, isn't it? And that's estimated between £9,000 and £11,000.
That's it.
It's a very beautiful thing, and you can own that in 1976. And that moves us on to this, the 1917 Humber 3.5 horsepower, which seems like quite a lot of horsepower back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to rip your arms off, but you wouldn't want a lot of speed when you're changing gears with your left hand either, would you?
That's the thing about these old bikes; they're so sketchy to ride. So is this like your oiler here? Is it?
Yeah, so as you're riding along, you just need to keep your eye on that as well as the road. And if you start to run out of oil, you give it a quick pump and you can keep going.
But how usable are these? Are these the kind of bikes that a collector would have just to have something beautiful to look at? Or would you get people actually running and riding these and using them as something that you can enjoy on a very dry, sunny day?
Well, this one does run and ride.
Yeah.
And the guy who's brought it in has actually seldom used it. So it needs a bit of recommissioning to get it back on the road. However, a lot of people do tend to do that because they like to do things like the Banbury Run and a lot of pre-war classic meets.
And that bike's eligible?
Of course.
You've got a problem with your horn there, love?
Yeah, well, story of my life.
Moving on to this, quickly. The 1948 Norton Model 18. So we do love a Norton, don't we? Where's it behind us? There you go. So the 48 Norton Model 18, it's an unmolested post-war restoration project.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's showing it. It is a belter.
It is lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a cracking example. It's probably got 99% of its integrity there. You can see that it's had a new seat cover's been reupholstered on the rear, and there's a few other bits. However, it is pretty much there. And at £7,000 at low estimate, it's going to be a bit of a steal as well forever.
That seems like a lot of bike for the money, and obviously you could recommission that and put it back on the road. But again, what I love about all these bikes is they can have two lives, can't they? They can either be just something wonderful to have, like this displayed on a podium, something nice to look at every day.
Absolutely.
And they add a wonderful smell to any room, don't they? That's the thing.
They do. It's all about the smell.
54 BSA, C11G. Why would we want one of these? It's a very pretty bike. What is it about this bike that's so exceptional?
Well, I'll tell you, this actual bike, the low estimate on this is £2,000.
It's a lot of bike, isn't it?
It is. So if you're looking to get into collecting classics, this is a mega cheap way in. And just look at it. It's just as beautiful as the Norton we've just looked at. And actually that kind of iconic design was carried on right into the late 60s and early 70s, as you can see in some of the Japanese super sport.
Very visually appealing bike, that. So it's MOT and tax exempt, so it's very easy to run. Motor runs perfectly on this.
Yeah,
it rides and sounds brilliant, according to your notes here.
Yeah,
and just needs a service away from being back on the road, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it just needs a bit of love and a little weekend, and it's good to go.
Love it. Now, the Triumph Model H, I like this a lot. I like the look of this. This has got the X factor, hasn't it?
It has, again, pretty much for this one, same as the Humber. It's an early 20s, 1921, I believe. I just love how some of them have the original tax list on there. It's not been taxed since 1981. So it did quite a few years on
But what's mad, obviously someone was riding that in 1981, which I think is even more impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, or dangerous, depending on how you look at it. But yeah, I mean, again, it's pretty much all there. You can see that it's even got the original carrying satchels on the rear. The seat has been completely unrestored and everything. It's totally original, which is really nice. So you could just recommission it and ride it as it is.
I think I would. I think the patina on this is so beautiful.
Yeah, potentially.
I wouldn't touch it. You just want the tyres to be right, don't you? You want it running perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's a real charm in how it sits, I think.
It is, yeah, and I love the fact it's still got the original lamp, and you've still got the oil lamp hat cylinder as well. So
it's incredible technology, isn't it? On a bike, it's amazing how far things have come.
Yeah.
So the 1960 Triumph T100A Tiger.
Yep.
This is the most iconic of all the Triumph tank badges, I think. I mean, these were so iconic they even made them into belt buckles, didn't they?
They actually did make them into belt buckles, yeah.
Do you remember that? That was cool back in the 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, really good bike. Nice
this has had a nut and bolt restoration. This has really had some money spent on it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's a late restoration. We don't know exactly when it was restored, but within the last sort of 10 years. And as you can see, it's been dry stored and everything else. So it's pretty much good to go. Again, same as the other two, it just needs a recommission, and it's good to go. However, it does run, and there's nothing's going to trip you up there majorly.
So it's had the paintwork done, it's had the frame done, it's had the engine rebuilt as well, it's had new piston rings and seals. It's only done 20 miles since the restoration.
Since the restoration, yeah. So you're pretty much riding a new bike. I mean, if you're going to take a punt on this and win it, you know, you've got to bear in mind that you need to actually break that motor in before you start giving it some beans.
But I mean, that's a bargain, isn't it? So like you say, that's effectively a brand new bike. That's £4,500 to £5,500.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the work costs way more than that.
Yeah. No one's done the work in order to make money. They've just done it out of the love. Yeah.
We do like that. Moving on to the 1977 Triumph Bonneville T140V. Fully restored again to a lovely standard, this one. Done 35,000 miles on the odometer. 4-stroke motor, a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
What do they like to ride, these?
Quite easy.
Are they?
Relatively easy, yeah.
Does this have a more modern feel? If you're used to riding a modern bike and you think I might like to try my hand at a sort of usable, sensible classic, is this a great place to start?
Yeah, it's a good place to start, but also with it being a 4-stroke, it's relatively easy to maintain as well. 4 strokes can be a bit of a lovable rogue.
Yeah.
Whereas that, you just need to put some oil in it, change the spark plugs and off you go. Obviously, it's a 750cc motor as well, so it's a little bit more beefy.
Tanks along,
plenty of low-end torque. And as you say, if you look at a lot of the naked motorcycles that are about now, they're pretty much developed from that sort of era.
This is the architecture, isn't it? This is where everybody's getting their design language from now, isn't it, as you say?
Yeah, pretty much.
That is a very handsome bike, that one, isn't it? Lovely proportions. And physically, a larger bike as well, isn't it? If you're a bigger chap, because some of these early bikes, really, these early classics, they're too small, aren't they? If you're a big lad like me. Whereas you need to be getting something like this, like a mid-70s bike, before they start to make size sense.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you were to look at like the Humbers and everything else we've just looked at, for someone like me or you, it's just too small. It's more of something beautiful to look at. You don't really want to get caught in any traffic. But something like this 140 Bonneville, you know, you could use that every day, or you could just stick it in your man cave.
Or she shed.
Or your she shed.
Yeah. It's 2023. Girls have bikes too. From 1979, Yamaha XS250.
Yeah.
This is a project. This has got, get yourself in the shed on a summer evening.
Yeah.
Get your tunes on. Get your beer on, and you can go to town on this. I love this era of design. So late 70s, early 80s. This is for me when bikes got really good looking.
Yeah, it is. It's when bikes got really appealing. It's around the era of the first sort of RDs.
Yeah.
The XS, obviously, different from the RD, is a 4-stroke motor, so it's a lot more smooth, a lot less upkeep. And as you can see from the bike, it's pretty much all there.
Yeah.
It's not like you need to go finding parts for this.
Because this starts and runs, doesn't it, as well?
It does. It actually runs, yeah. Yeah. You wouldn't believe so, looking at the tank. You see a lot of corrosion and stuff on the tank, and it does need some work there. To look at it, you wouldn't believe that it works, but it does.
So this is one to disassemble, restore, and reassemble.
Yeah.
And this is not an expensive project either, is it?
No, it's not an expensive project on the basis that, you know, everything's pretty much there, to be honest with you.
And you could buy that, what, for grand and a half?
Yeah, I think the low estimate on that one is around 800, is it? Or 1,000 on that one? Yeah.
Interesting project, that one. Moving on to this 76, very pretty little thing, this 76 Yamaha DT100. Another restoration project, but this already looks in very good order, so this seems like a much less work to me.
Yeah, there's not a lot of work in this, and you can see how easy it would be to just drop that motor out as well. A couple of weekends to get it back on the road, and as you say, you know, it's a beautiful bike. Probably leave the paintwork alone. and leave it original the way that it is.
And fun to own stuff like this because it's tax exempt, it's MOT exempt, it's a lot of things exempt, isn't it? So I guess these are a cheap, fun thing to have if you want like a fun weekend bike or just a second bike. If you're running a modern day bike as your daily, something like this, it's not going to tax you much financially, is it?
No, not really, no. A lot of fun to ride. And as you can see by the exhaust there as well, you can stick a nice set of spangies on it.
Yeah.
And it sounds more like a 350cc rather than just a little 100. So yeah, a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. And $2.5 grand to $3 grand on that one?
Yeah, exactly. So it's the reserve again is low on this one. So if you're going to buy it, you know, again, I don't think you'd be sort of bringing it back to life to make anything out of it financially. But it's worth it for the love, as we all say. And
that's quite a rare bike now. There's not many of those left, are there? Particularly in that sort of unmolested, unrestored condition where you've got everything there that you need.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about stuff like this. It's really cheap, but then it's really rare.
Yeah.
It's not really something you see in the car world. Usually the rarer things are, the more expensive they are.
It's true.
So yeah.
But again, it's just fun projects, pocket money toys. We like those, don't we? Stuff that you don't have to put loads of money into and then you can kind of do over a few weekends.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me about the Kawasaki, that's lovely.
Yeah, so Kawasaki, well, I'd put it straight in the same bag as the Yamaha, to be honest with you. Again, a really simple project to do. Single cylinder, you can drop the motor out easily. And if you look at it really, there's not an awful lot of work that needs doing on it. There's some paint needs doing it, some seat restoration, a new set of tyres, and obviously it needs a commission and service. But other than that, anyone who's got half a clue, a decent set of tools, and knows a good painter, you could pretty quickly flip this and have a lot of fun on it.
I like the way it's stuck a KW. I like the way it's stuck a car suspension sticker on a bike.
Yeah, confusing.
It is confusing. Onto this, the 1992 Moto Guzzi 750 Sport, the 90s bike that looks like an 80s bike.
Yeah, correct, yeah. And as you can see, like Moto Guzzi was behind the curve quite a little bit in comparison to the Japanese.
From a styling point of view?
From a styling point of view, yeah. And actually that's why Moto Guzzi is loved by a lot of the people.
Because it's a bit quirky.
They're quite quirky, the style slightly differently. But you know, Moto Guzzi is a great manufacturer and actually really reliable for the time as well.
It just looks so incredibly Italian, doesn't it? That's the thing.
It does look completely Italian, yeah. But if you look at that motor as well, it looks like a V-shaped car motor.
Yeah, it does.
If you look at it, and they've made it really easy to work on and play with because
that's a 4-stroke motor as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And to get it out, it's 6 bolts, and the whole engine just drops out the bottom, so they're dead easy to work on.
So you and a mate would have that out in an evening.
Yeah.
Quick freshen up.
Yeah. I wouldn't even do anything with it. I'd just recommission it and ride it.
And just have fun with it.
Yeah.
And again, is that a rare bike? You don't see many of those, do you?
Yeah, you don't see many. I mean, Moto Guzzi obviously mass-produced bikes, but they weren't as big at mass-producing back in the era of that bike.
Yeah.
So for that reason, they are quite rare.
Love it.
Yeah.
Moving on to this. This, I still can't believe this, because they must be out there.
Yeah, I know.
Bill Bifford's bike, this.
This is the third time it's gone through our auction. We're all a little bit flabbergasted at the fact it's not gone because it is such good value. However, speaking to the vendor the other day, he has actually decided to drop the reserve as well. So if you've looked at this in the past and thought, oh, you're not quite too sure, maybe now is the time to strike.
Yeah.
Because he's looking at, he's dropped the reserve on it, and if it doesn't go through this one, there's another alternative means of sale. So this could be your last chance to have a go.
Well, there you go. And don't forget, if you're not sure what the history of this one is, this is obviously Bilby of Saxon. It's been on stage with the band. It's been on the album cover for the band.
Yeah.
This, if you're into your heavy metal, featured in Kerrang magazine. I mean, this, if you are into metal, this bike has a life of its own. It's a great bike by itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
it is, but also, even if you're not into metal,
it's just a great bike.
And you were born, it's just a great bike. But if you were born of that era, people who remember those bands, if you went out to a meet on this, people would look at it and they would point and they would remember exactly.
Would you attempt to grow a mullet if you had this bike?
Well, I haven't got any hair, so you'd probably be better at that.
But I think you would at least want to try and get a wig to flap out the back of your helmet, wouldn't you, if you had this?
I do sometimes wear a wig.
I think you should, yeah. Now this is lovely, the 2002 Aprilia RSV Miller R.
Yeah. So
this is a bit of a weapon, this, isn't it?
So it is a bit of a weapon. So you're looking at a 1000cc, 75 degree VTwin motor. It's got full titanium race exhaust on it, full racing plastics, oversized radiator, full all-in suspension.
And she's running slicks.
Running on slicks, yeah. You won't pass an MOT with that.
I was going to say. So this is actually a road legal bike, though, isn't it? Or is it not?
No.
It's not.
It's not, no, it's a race bike, this one, so there's no V5 or anything like that comes with it. This is your opportunity to get into racing really, really cheaply with a low-end reserve.
So 2.5 to 3.5, yeah? 2.5 to 3,500 pounds, this one.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, just look at what you get in there.
And what is this eligible? Because this has had so much stuff. So throttle bodies have been balanced. It's had upgraded ECU, Brembo brakes, Öhlins front and rear, as you say, Öhlins steering damper. It's got arrow headers, a K&N filter, race bodywork, race chain. Just, as you say, a lot of money's been spent here. I mean, what would that bike cost to build for you could buy this for 3.5 grand?
Yeah, I mean, someone's probably spent, including the bike itself,
yeah,
you're looking at the thick end, 10 grand.
Wow, so you can buy it for a third of that, couldn't you?
You can buy it for a third of it as well. From, I've rode bikes on the track for many years, and in my perspective, when you look to buy a track bike, one thing that you do avoid are bikes with quick shifters.
Right.
Because they tear up the gearbox. This has never had a quick shifter fitted to the bike, so the gearbox, it will be in good working order, and it does sound like it's in good working order.
And even if you don't want to race, I guess this is the ultimate track day machine, isn't it, really? Because you could put this in the back of your van, go on bike track days, and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, you can just have a lot of fun with it, and it's relatively inexpensive, After you've spent the money to buy it, it's the world's your oyster.
And then moving on to this, the 2008 Suzuki RM250.
Yep.
So again, obviously this is a fun bike, this one.
Yeah, so there's a massive list of trick bits on there.
So I should just run you through these. So Talon XL hubs, it's got Hahn hubs as well, K-Tech power suspension, Pro Circuit pipe, Pro taper bars. It's got bark busters, quick action throttle, Boyston Reeds and engine covers. It's got a Vertex piston, Dunlop tyres. So again, someone has just blown their brains out putting all the cool stuff on, haven't they?
Lightweight wheels on there as well, as you can see. Yeah, a lot of money spent, sat on some good tyres. Yeah. It's been serviced and it runs and it's good to go, and all someone needs is the money to pay for it, and there's a lot of fun to be had.
I know, 3.5 grand, again, probably way worth more than 9 bits, isn't it, I'd imagine?
Yeah, you could probably get 2.5 grand just from the motor.
It's mad. Yeah. So that's a great fun. If you want to go crossing, that's a great way to do it. Again, if you've got a van to take it places, that's the one you want. Yeah. Now this is obviously not a bike, this is 4 wheels, but I think it sort of appeals to bike people. Maybe people like me whose marital management says you're not allowed to have a bike, but you still want to go and have some fun. Yeah, well. This is a great way to do it. So this is a Polaris Ranger RZR 900 XP, very rare, and road legal, fully road legal this. So you can drive it down the pub, or you can go thrashing off-road, or you can drive to your favourite off-road venue and have some fun with it. Huge spec, only two previous owners, unbelievable the performance on these, they're so quick. And have a look underneath. This is a proper pucker off-road thing that you can drive down to the co-op and get some milk. Which is, they think it's mad. You can though, can't you?
Over the fields.
You can. Basically, what I love about these is basically you pick a point on the map, and normally you have to choose a road between it, don't you? But this, just pick a straight line and just drive the straight line.
Yeah, arrowhead.
Yeah.
Go.
So this also comes with a trailer as well, so you can drive it anywhere you want. But if that feels like a little bit too far to take it, whack it on the trailer and take it down there. That's a lot of fun. That's 8.5 to 9.5 grand. I think that has some serious posing potential, but also what a laugh.
Yeah, massive. Well, it sounds awesome as well.
Yeah.
It's got a really nice Yoshimoto system on it as well, a titanium system, which sounds really beautiful.
Because I mean, someone's paid for a lot of upgrades on this. These aren't standard shocks, surely. Yeah. Surely. That's epic. I think you'll have a lot of fun driving that around. Say 8.5 to 9.5 grand if you fancy that. This is a little bit small for me, this one. Most bikes I am too big for. But this 1990s Honda, so the XR50R mini bike, great paddock bike, great to get your kids into it. One owner, red and black, 50cc on good tyres. Yeah. Body's in lovely condition. And it runs great, doesn't it?
Yeah, 1,500 to 2,000 quid estimate as well. So the good thing about this is it's an old bike, but it still looks brand new.
It does, doesn't it?
It's been kept really well. I mean, it's still even got all the informational stickers and stuff stuck on there, and it's good to go. It runs. We've had a little
Little buzz around the car
We
park.
had a little buzz around, yeah, the inside as well when it was empty of cars, and it sounds and looks great. And it'd be a good way to get the little ones into
get the youths into it.
motorcycle, yeah.
And I mean, it's some serious paddock cred if you're at a bike meeting as well and your kids were running that because it's 90s as well rather than brand new. That's just a little bit more.
Well, I think if we were flying around the paddock as well, we'd get good paddock cred. Everyone's going to love you for that, aren't they?
I would have to seriously get my knee down on that. My legs are far too long.
Yeah, you probably have your knees on the foot stands.
But from the 90s, to the 70s, this 1970s Honda CR125M, really nice usable bike this. It's a two-stroke motor, it's been dry stored, it's in lovely condition, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in lovely condition. Yeah, it could do with a little bit of tidying up in terms of paperwork, paintwork.
Yeah.
It could
The
do
paperwork's in fine order.
the paperwork's in good
Paperwork's
order.
fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah, so a little bit of paintwork. Other than that, maybe a new spark plug and some oil.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's all original plastics though, isn't it?
It's completely original, the bike. It's got an aftermarket exhaust and a slightly bigger spangy on there, so it sounds a little bit beefier.
Yeah.
However, I think it's been balanced because it runs quite smoothly.
Sweet.
Yeah, sweet as enough.
And again, not an expensive bike, 2.5 to 3 grand, you could take that home.
Yeah.
So I'm loving this, we've got a lot of really nice price range stuff in. So what I like about it, you could buy it, and whether you choose to ride it immediately or just stick it in your collection or just admire it, you're not tying up huge amounts of cash. And I would imagine all of these bikes, if you put 2.5, 3 grand in them, you'll always get it out, won't you?
Well, you're definitely not going to lose on any of these now. You definitely won't lose on any of them.
So consider it a
that's the thing.
savings plan, I would.
Yeah.
So 1979 or 80, we're not quite sure, the Suzuki Beamish RL325.
Yeah.
Really nicely restored 70s trial bike. Only produced for 3 years, this bike, wasn't it? 21 brake horsepower, so it must be a quick old stick, this.
Yeah.
And it's had a nut and bolt restoration.
It has, and I must admit, this is my favourite trials bike in here at the moment. It's just beautiful. I put it on par with the TZ250, as in something you could just put in your room and just look at. It's a beautiful thing.
As a piece of art or sculpture.
Yeah, and the gentleman that purchased this, the current vendor, he bought it pretty much in the condition that it was in, but there were a few nooks and crannies that weren't quite there.
Yeah.
And he's made it right. It runs, it sounds great, it doesn't need anything, it's on brand new tyres, it's had a service, it just wants for a new owner, that's all.
Yeah, and 4 to 4.5 grand, you could take that home, and again, you're buying a bike that you could not possibly restore or buy or put together for that figure.
Not a chance, no.
Love it, love stuff like that. As I say, let someone else do the hard work and heavy lifting for you, and then you can just enjoy the benefits.
And then you enjoy the benefits of someone else's work, yeah.
Now let's talk about this. So we've also had 2 wheels, we've had 4 wheels, we've got to split the difference and go for 3. This is, look at this. Could you sit on this and model this while I talk about this? Because this needs someone with the suitable gravitas. So this is a 2005 Rowacco HS6 VTwin. And I think we've described this here as owned by a national treasure and legend.
It is owned by a national treasure.
Yeah, it's our good friend Simon Gregson, he's a good mate of mine. He bought this because, let's be honest guys, and Simon, I know you're going to watch this, he's having a midlife crisis, basically. Same age as me. You know, here he is, revered on television. Revered or reviled is one of the two. On national television as one of the great soap characters of our time, Steve McDonald. And to celebrate his fame and his fortune and his great success, he went out and treated himself to this.
Yeah.
It's a mad thing is it's got a V-twin Harley-Davidson motor at the back, twin seats so you can take a mate.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing something really stupid, unlike a motorbike, it's impossible to fall off this, which I think will have made ITV very happy.
Yeah.
Because obviously what they worry about is their big star falling off a motorbike, being injured, not being able to film. Very hard to fall off a trike that's as wide as Cheshire itself.
Yeah, well, having spoken to him a few times, he has said that he's used it seldom in the nice warm weather to go back to the studio every now and again.
And of course you can ride this without a helmet as well, if you want to, can't you?
Yeah, you can. I mean, personally, I'd probably put one on, but you could if you wanted to. There's no law, no legislation. You can have the wind through your hair.
And the bugs in your teeth.
Yeah.
But I think the thing, if you just go and look at some details of it, it's the finishing. It's a lot of CNC machining.
Yeah.
A lot of very high level detail on this. Great motor, torquey old thing this.
Yeah, it's definitely finished to a very high standard.
It is. I mean, these are expensive when you buy them new. They're car money when they're new. This one's going to be somewhere between 16 and 18 grand. But if you're looking at these, you know what they are. You know they're an absolute fortune.
Even Lucy loves it.
Yeah, look, Lucy's there. She's come into the film.
She comes
Adding a little touch of cuteness, much needed cuteness in one of our videos. So that's it. So if you would like a motorbike and you're not allowed to have one like me, and you're allowed to have a trike because they're much harder to fall off, maybe this is the answer. Exquisitely put together, huge pose value, and just a bit of fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
It's like a 3-wheeled beach buggy, that one. But back to the bikes, because I know that's your thing. The 1998 Yamaha R71.
Yeah.
Tell me about this bike, come on.
So I would like to touch on this because this is a play on a Yamaha R14XV,
Right.
which was produced in 1998.
And what makes this bike so special?
Well, the gentleman who's bought it, there was a company out there that there was a Yamaha R7, which was the 1998 production race bike, and they made 300 of those.
Right.
This is a hybrid of the two.
Ah, okay.
So he actually bought this bike and spent 14 to 16,000 pounds on extras. So it's got.
Shall I just list what they are, or can you remember from the top of your head?
I prefer you to do it off the list.
Right. So it's a Dave Stevenson tuned motor. It's got titanium exhaust. It's got the uprated BSB radiator. It's got the Harris Engineering clip-ons and rear sets. A modified swing arm. It's got Marcini wheels and Olin race suspension. It's got Olin's race damper as well. Brembo master cylinders. Uprated EBC pads. Gold chain. Just go through an all titanium and alloy fastener. So he's gone through the whole bike and taken everything off. So again, proper labour of love. Yeah. And this is the best bit. My two favourite words in any auction catalogue: no reserve.
No reserve.
No reserve.
No. So the guy knows what it's worth.
Yeah.
And if you want a way to get into racing, or if you want
this is road registered,
parts,
isn't it?
It's road registered.
Yeah.
But that would qualify to go on a track any day of the week.
Yeah.
So you could do that, or if you wanted to use the motor from this, or the suspension and everything else, it's all top spec. And yeah, at no reserve, it's crazy money. There's a lot of money sat there right in front of you.
I mean, it's no reserve, but I mean, what is that bike worth? What would that centre go for in a sane sale region?
Do you know, it's hard to say, because if it was a standard 4XV that hadn't been played with, you're looking at 10,000. However, it's not standard, but it's
So I guess if you're the person in the room that fancies those upgrades, it's worth more. And if you're a purist, it's worth less, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to say. I mean, the bike's probably realistically worth in the region of £5,000 to £10,000 as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So come and have a bid on that, because somebody has done so much work and spent so much money, and you can enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, those wheels are thousands of pounds. You've got lightweight Merchant Easy wheels on there.
They're beautiful.
Just the wheels and the suspension, you're into sort of 2, 3, 4,000 there.
Crikey. A lot of money. But this is nice. Well, 2010 Yamaha VMAX 1700. Yeah. This is a beast, isn't it?
Great
it's
reserve
a big old
on
bike.
This one. Great reserve on this one. 1700cc VTwin. And these things could just pull a moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just look so cool as well, don't they? I love the styling on these. They're physically a big bike.
Yeah.
They've got that presence, haven't they?
They have, and the current owner as well has just done some tasteful mods, including that race fit cam.
Yeah.
And it sounds, in fact, you sat on it the other day, didn't you? And it sounds and feels absolutely tremendous. It's one of those bikes that you ride, and it takes a few rides to get used to because of the way it handles.
Yeah.
But you'd learn to love it and really appreciate it. Brilliant bike. Current owner. He's a really switched on guy, knows his motorcycles, he's looked after it well, it's got a history, MOT, and it's good to go.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's a 13-year-old bike, but it really is exceptionally clean.
Well, it just looks like new, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Like all the fixings, everything's bright. Heated grips, I mean, you wouldn't want to run this in the winter because it's too nice.
Yeah, I mean, from the looks of it, I don't think he's ever run it in the winter, has he? Yeah.
I think those heated grips were a waste of money, weren't they? I don't think they've ever been used.
Yeah.
So moving on to this, the Yamaha here, the Kenny Roberts tribute. I've always loved this bike.
Yep.
I'm just waiting for somebody to come and take this off our hands.
Well, I think someone will take it off our hands this time because, again, this is its third time through. However, I spoke to the vendor and they've just reduced the reserve quite a bit on this one, which brings it way under market value now.
Well, there you go. Well, 7 to 7.5 is the estimate, and that seems like an awful lot of bike for the money to me.
And yeah, and it is, and let's not make two bones about it. It's like it's a brand new bike. It's done 2,000 miles. Yeah. It wants for nothing, and it looks like it's just come out of the showroom, apart from the lovely paint job that's been done. I don't know who's done that, but that is a seriously good paint job.
But we've mentioned this before, so this is a great way of getting effectively the replica look for less money than if you'd bought the factory bike, isn't it?
Yeah, and even less now because the reserve's been dropped.
So there you go, it's got the quick shifter on, it's got the livery, it's got that beautiful paint job on there as well, and it is truly immaculate.
Yeah.
As Jimmy says, it is like buying a brand new bike, and you could buy that bike for somewhere between 7 and 7.5 grand. You could take that home.
Absolutely.
And I think if you have one of these on your shopping list and you're a Kenny fan, get buying, I would say. Onto the Suzuki Bandit. Even I know Suzuki Bandits are cool.
Yeah. So this is, again, we've said this before, and the last one, we talk about bikes, it's a lot of bike for not a lot of money.
Yeah.
And Elliot's showing you one right now. So,
you could buy, what, 1,500 quid, 2 grand you could buy this for?
Yeah, and you know, it's a 1200cc, it's got loads of torque, room for a pillion passenger.
Yeah.
And yeah, the overall condition of this bike is pretty good. The motor does run, however, it's going to need a recommission and a service. But it's sat on good tyres, it's got good brakes.
So this has got 11 months MOT. It's potential bargain because it's somewhere between 1,500 quid and 2 grand. I'll take it home.
Yep.
All in black, which looks really, really nice.
Yep.
And it's only done 21,000 miles.
And that's it, yeah. And just needs, like I say, a couple of hours at a weekend to make it right.
And if I was coming to the auction and I think I like this bike, I'm going to start either riding a bike or collecting bikes, but I don't know the places to take this. You can help people. You know everybody around here, don't you? You can advise on some great places to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially on stuff like this, the Japanese stuff.
Is it easy to get done?
It's really easy to get done as well. But you know, like Paul's just said, if you do buy anything from us and you're not too sure where to take it to, give me a shout.
You'll open your contacts book, won't you? And he knows some people. He really does. Right, on to the scooters. Now, I'm in love with the look of these scooters. Started with a 65 Lambretta. Even I know that's good news because it's got the mirrors, it's got the accessories, white and silver, historic, of course. It's just been resprayed. It looks all the money, doesn't it, that?
It looks all the money. It looks pretty much like a new bike. And actually, as far as collectors' bikes are going, this actually is, as far as Lambrettas go.
Yeah.
This is the bomb.
Yeah.
This is the one. So when you used to see celebrities in magazines and papers in the 60s and 70s,
This is what they're riding.
Riding around with their girlfriends and boyfriends on the back, that is the bike they were riding.
And these are worth quite a few quid, aren't they? This is estimated at 6.5 to 8 grand, so this really can make some decent money.
Yeah.
Again, a lovely thing, isn't it? If you've got a restaurant or a cafe or a pub, scooters are just that cool, classless thing that work in every situation. You can either ride it, store it, look at it, just enjoy it. It really, I mean, you can have a scooter in your house, and I think it looks amazing.
Yeah, we could just sit on it and watch the TV, and, you know.
Or ride it down the shops.
Or ride it down the shops. You can just live on it. Yeah, you know, it's a simple and easy way into a classic.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And there's a massive cult following for them out there. Yeah.
On to this one, the 62 Lambretta Series 3, again part of a scooter collection. We've got lots of lovely scooters going through. Only done 2,600 kilometres this, historic registered of course, resprayed in that beautiful blue with a colour-coded fly screen as well. New wheels, new tyres, just ready to rock.
Yeah, ready to rock and roll. No tidying up needed, no servicing needed. Good to go. All these scooters have come from the same gentleman who is he's a prize collector. And he buys them, he gets them in boxes, he has them built and stuff properly, serviced.
Excellent taste, and I can't really commend enough. The paintwork is very nice quality. Yeah, really is. Someone has done a lovely job there.
They really have, yeah.
Again,
they look like new bikes, don't they?
They do.
This whole selection here, if someone was to say that they were new and you didn't know much about bikes, you pretty much believe it, wouldn't you?
Very well restored, I have to say. So on to this one, so the 60. So this is a Series 2. LI125, so again, part of the same collection, restored to a lovely standard. It's got the Magello kit fitted, it's had an extensive engine rebuild, this one as well. It's so much so, it needs to be run in. If you buy this one, get ready for some running in miles. Yeah,
definitely. It's been built and then it's done absolutely nothing since. So effectively you're buying a new scooter.
Yeah, new paint, new cables, new wiring loom, new rubber body kit, new carburettor, new wheels and tyres. So that's new. That's a new scooter.
Yeah,
basically.
pretty much. Yeah.
And at 5 to 6 grand, that's got to be less than a new scooter, but it's MOT exempt and it's historic. So.
Yeah, and all these scooters here as well. If you look at the reserves, they're all under market value. So if you are looking to get into scooter riding, or you have a collection of scooters and you don't have any of these, you probably agree watching this that there's some good bargains to be had.
A little bit later, 1967, beautifully resprayed in a very lovely colour, this one.
Yeah, that is a beautiful colour.
So Series 3 again, this one, metallic blue, full respray. Once again, it's historic, so there's no tax to pay, there's no MOT to do on it. New carburettor again, new Delorto on there, new wheels, new tyres, new wiring, new rubber body kit on there. So once again, just gone through. It's a no questions bike that you can just ride.
Yeah, and like I say before, without repeating myself, the owner of these motorcycles, as you can see, is very particular, and they're all the same in terms of everything just being just right, and I'm just needing a new owner, and that's about it.
The quality is exceptional, and again, if you buy that one, expect to do some running in miles because it's all new components, and she's tight.
She's tight.
She's tight like a tiger. Right, 1959, a little bit earlier, and I think this earlier styling, you can really see it's a little bit softer, isn't it? A little bit more organic.
It is, yeah.
And I really like it. White and chrome. It's kitted to 325cc. It's a flying machine with 1746 gearing. Once again, new wheels, new tyres. This gentleman, he really does do this right, doesn't he? No messing. If it's not right, it gets replaced.
Yeah, so it's 235cc, and actually this thing flies.
Yeah.
This is the fastest. It's considerably quicker.
So we've put 325 on this thing, so that's a typo, so it's actually 235.
It's a 235cc.
So we haven't bored it out to 325.
We haven't personally bored it out now, and if the owner's watching, we haven't been tinkering. So yeah, 235cc and considerably quicker than the rest of them. And I think that one personally is styled a little bit more beautifully than the rest of them. Actually, a little bit softer.
So there you go, so that's our amazing scooter selector. So if you're after a scooter and you've got about 5 or 6 grand to spend, the world is your oyster, and in many cases, again, they are as new, they're fully restored. In 2 or 3 cases, you'll be the one that's running them in. So if scooters are your thing, make sure you register to bid. Now I need to take you over to the stage to look at 2 star lots over there.
Let's go.
So these are our 2 prize lots. So this is very lovely, 1928 Norton CS1.
Yeah.
A bike of this type ran at the TTM period.
Yep.
And these are the superbike of their day, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, just look at the ingenuity on it. It's the pinnacle of over-engineered. However, the reason that they probably still survive.
Yeah.
This
is when British bikes were the best bikes in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of competition back in the day, but Norton did kind of lead the way. You can just tell with the switches and the quality of everything. I mean, all this is completely original. And this particular one is an absolute belting example and sounds unreal. If you've never heard one of these run before, you'd be really surprised at just how good.
There is a video, if you want to go online and watch that, in our listing, you can actually hear and watch this doing its thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely fabulous looking thing. I said the patina and just the way that it's aged, I mean, when you think this is nearly 100 years old, which totally blows my mind.
Crazy. Because
the styling of it, it doesn't look anything like that kind of age, does it?
No, I think it's a sleek look that Norton always had, and if you look at the sort of the teardrop shape of the tank, and that kind of got phased out into a more thicker rounded tank. And then if you look at some of the Japanese in the late 70s, 50 years later, they kind of took on this design to go into their sort of super sport era with the Z1000 and the Z900 and stuff like that. So a lot of ingenuity and styling of modern motorcycles is still very much based on this area.
I love
late
these
adaptation.
Knee grips as well.
Yeah.
So good. So it needs a restoration, or just enjoy it for exactly what it is. Just have it as an incredible artifact.
Yeah, I don't think whoever buys this is going to touch it. I don't think anyone's going to touch this. I think this is going to go into a collection somewhere. However, it does run. It starts immense. The engine sounds like clockwork. And what a great piece of art.
And 30 to 35 grand to get you into that, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the estimate of 30 to 35 grand actually is quite low. So if you were to bag it for around that value, you're definitely not going to lose any money.
You've had a good day out.
Yeah.
And over to this, another beautiful bike, this one, a little scooter. This is so pretty. It's impossibly pretty. 1958 Vesper Douglas 125.
Yeah.
In what I have to say is probably the best colour I've ever seen applied to a scooter in my life.
Yeah, it is beautiful. And again, we put this one over here because the rest of this gentleman's collection were all Lambrettas. This was the only Vesper he had in his collection, so we popped it up here with things of a similar era.
So 1985 on a C, this one.
Yeah.
Penasco kit fitted. It's got the larger carb. It's got a dummy choke, thumb choke on the carburettor as well.
Yeah.
Passenger back seat, which is very nice, and these are lovely.
Yeah, lovely, quite comfortable as well. For a change, being on the back of a...
So again, this has had an awful lot of work and money spent on it, and so much so, this is another bike that, should you buy this, you're going to need to run this in.
Yeah, and don't you just love that pearlescent paint job on there as well? All of these have been done to a really high standard, and I agree with you.
Well, I would say a show standard, this bike.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah.
It is a show standard. But like you say, it depends on what you want to do with it. You can either ride it, or you can stick it in your collection and just admire it.
So this is sort of 1960s look, isn't this? So it's all the best things of an 80s bike with a full refresh in the 1960s look.
Yeah, a bit more technology.
Yeah, best of both.
With more of a retro design.
So there you go. Hopefully you've seen something in that lot that you like. So we've got cars, we've got bikes, we've got trikes, we've even got quads as well. So if you want to register to bid, go to manorparkclassics.com. Of course, you can do it on the morning of the auction, but don't forget, the bikes start at 11 a.m. So be here good and early. Come at 9, the burger van will be out, the kettle will be on, there'll be tea.
The sun will be
coffee.
out.
Exactly. All the more reason to come down, manorparkclassics.com, and we'll see you bright and early in the morning. Don't forget, bikes start at 11.